Once upon a time, beneath the waves of the endless ocean, there was a little mermaid who lived in a kingdom of coral spires and pearl-studded halls. She was the youngest of 6 daughters, each of them beautiful, but none so enchanting as her. Her golden hair shimmered even in the darkest waters, and her voice was a wonder that could quiet storms and make the most hardened sailors weep. Her singing voice, more than anything, made her special. She would swim through the depths, her melodies enchanting sea creatures and stirring even the currents themselves. At night, her songs drifted to the surface, captivating sailors who believed her voice belonged to an ocean spirit. Ariel cherished her gift, for it was her truest expression of her heart. But while her sisters reveled in the ocean's beauty, Ariel dreamed of another world, a world above the waves. She longed to see the sun, feel the wind on her face, and walk on land among the humans who lived such brief, passionate lives. Her fascination grew when she first saw him, a prince standing on the deck of a ship, laughing as the wind tossed his dark hair. His joy, his confidence, were unlike anything she had ever known. She visited him often from afar, her heart aching with longing. One night, as she watched him from a distance, a storm rolled in. The sea roared in fury, and the prince's ship was dashed against the rocks. Ariel swam through the chaos to save him, dragging him to the shore as waves threatened to pull them both under. She laid him gently on the sand, her heart aching as she sang to him in the fading darkness. When he stirred, his eyes fluttering open, she fled into the sea before he could see her, leaving her heart behind with him. Days turned into weeks, and the memory of the prince haunted her. Desperate to join him, she sought out the sea witch, a creature shunned by her people. The witch's lair was a dark tangle of coral and shadows, her presence both mesmerizing and menacing. "You wish to become human?" the witch asked, her black eyes gleaming with malice. "Yes," Ariel replied, her voice trembling. The witch's laughter echoed through the dark water. "I can give you legs, but the price is steep. Your voice will be mine, and every step you take on land will feel like knives piercing your feet. And should the prince marry another, your heart will break, and you will dissolve into sea foam." "My voice?" Ariel asked, her heart sinking. "Your voice is what makes you special, child," the witch said, circling her. "It is your soul. Without it, you will be nothing but a shadow of yourself, a pretty face with no words. But that is the price of love." Ariel hesitated, fear and longing warring within her. Finally, she nodded. The witch's magic swirled around her, pulling her voice from her throat like a thread being unwound. The pain was blinding, but she bore it without a sound. On land, the prince found her, and, moved by her beauty and vulnerability, took her into his castle. Though she could not speak, her expressive eyes and graceful movements captivated him. She danced for him, despite the searing pain in her feet, her love for him driving her forward. The prince was kind to her, but confusion lingered in his heart. He had dreamed of another woman, the one who had sung to him as he lay dying on the shore. He often stared at Ariel as though searching for something, his brows furrowed. "If only you could speak," he murmured once, his voice heavy with longing. Despite this, he grew fond of Ariel's presence, finding comfort in her quiet devotion. He dismissed the princess of the neighboring kingdom, refusing the political marriage in favor of the mysterious girl who had captured his heart. Ariel could scarcely believe it when he knelt before her in the gardens, offering her a ring. "I don't need words to know your heart," he said softly. A grand wedding was held in the palace, with bells ringing and the court rejoicing at their union. Ariel walked down the aisle in a gown of shimmering white, every step agony beneath her radiant smile. She looked into the prince's eyes as they exchanged their vows, the joy in his expression making her pain feel worthwhile. As the guests cheered and music filled the air, Ariel believed, for the first time, that her sacrifice had not been in vain. She had won his heart, and they would live happily ever after. For a time, they did. Ariel clung to this happiness fiercely, though a gnawing fear lingered in the corners of her mind. The sea witch's words haunted her. Should the prince marry another, you will dissolve into sea foam. She often stared at herself in the mirror, wondering if she was enough for him. Without her voice, without her songs, was she still the girl who had saved him? Late one night, Ariel awoke to faint music drifting through the open window. It was haunting, otherworldly, tugging at something deep within her. She crept to the balcony and froze. Far below, on the moonlit shore, she saw her sisters. Their hair, once cut short, had grown back wild and shimmering like silver. Their voices wove a spell that made the air hum with power. Ariel's blood ran cold as she watched the prince rise from their bed and walk toward the beach, as though in a trance. The sisters had suffered deeply since Ariel's departure. Their sacrifice to the sea witch had left them shamed and broken, mocked by their people for their shorn hair and hollowed beauty. They watched from the depths as Ariel lived the life they had dreamed of. Jealousy festered within them, twisting their love for their sister into something darker. One night, they returned to the sea witch, offering the last remnants of their souls in exchange for the power to destroy Ariel's happiness. The witch restored their beauty and gave them voices as enchanting as Ariel's once was. "Lure him to the sea," the witch said, her laughter echoing through the dark. "Let your sister taste the bitterness of betrayal." The sisters began their song. Night after night, they sang from the shore, weaving enchantments into their melodies. The prince's dreams became filled with visions of the sea, his waking hours consumed by thoughts of the mysterious women who called to him. Ariel tried to reach him, to draw him back to her, but he only grew colder, slipping further from her grasp. His once warm gaze became distant, and he spent more and more nights wandering the shore, listening for the song that pulled at his soul. One night, unable to bear her suspicions, Ariel followed the prince to the beach. Hidden among the rocks, she watched as he walked toward her sisters, his eyes glassy and unseeing. The sisters sang and laughed, their voices weaving a spell around him. Ariel's silent scream of heartbreak was swallowed by the waves. Back at the castle, Ariel confronted the prince, her tear-filled eyes demanding an explanation. But he, still under the spell, dismissed her pain. "They call to me," he murmured, his voice distant. "I can't help it. I feel drawn to them." Ariel's despair turned to fury. That night, as the prince slept, she retrieved the dagger her sisters had once given her. She stood over him, the blade trembling in her hand. Memories of their love warred with the image of him in her sister's arms. In a single trembling motion, she plunged the dagger into his chest. His eyes widened, the spell breaking as blood pooled around him. His final words, "I'm sorry," echoed in her ears as he died. Ariel fled to the sea, clutching the blood-stained dagger. She felt the sea witch's laughter in the currents, her sister's triumphant voices fading as she dove deeper into the abyss. Her soul had been consumed by grief, her heart broken beyond repair. Now she roams the ocean, her once golden hair tangled and her eyes hollow. Sailors who see her speak of a shadowy figure clutching a rusted blade, her cries echoing through the water. They say she is neither living nor dead, a soulless mermaid condemned to wander the depths forever, clutching the weapon that sealed her fate. And so, Ariel became a legend, a haunting reminder of love, betrayal, and despair. Thank you for joining us in the world of Twilight Fables. If you enjoyed this tale and want to hear more stories like this, please subscribe and hit the notification bell for more.